Ladies and gentlemen, I am Rakaba18, and this is The Gate Must Stand. This is a brand new action roguelike tower defense game featuring some real-time mechanics and some elements of RPG. You are going to start with a number of possible heroes, one of which is unlocked at the beginning. The others will be unlocked through game progression. You start with a randomized gate to defend, essentially, and some barricades that are set up for you. You'll notice here that there are tower placements. Those are random. You are able to then, as you level up, pick up and upgrade a number of hero tower followers, which are going to automatically attack and operate in a number of different ways. You can combine, likewise, heroes to level them up and increase their damage or some sort of mechanic that they encounter. Each map is going to be a little bit different. Each map is also going to spawn a number of different types of bosses, and you're going to have to essentially deal with waves of real-time enemies. As you progress and level up your hero, you're also going to get choices for that particular hero. So the first thing I will say is that this gameplay loop really isn't new, but it is a new sort of wrinkle on it. A lot of these tower defense games use sort of a number of towers themselves, and those towers help ward off enemies. This is much more of an action hero RPG style of tower defense game, and it is going to challenge you and test you in a number of different ways. The upgrade systems, the way that each of these towers interacts and works together and synergizes is going to really kind of be limitless. There's a number of different ways to build out your class and build out your setup. The map waves and density are insanely high, and they get harder as you go further in. So you're going to want to really pay attention to how to manage these builds. And the difficulty is not going to be easy. As with most roguelikes, you are going to have some level of failure before you start to really understand what you're doing and go from there. Visually, it's got a pretty cool little, almost hand-drawn, cartoony style, which I find appealing, I find interesting. All the animations are really cool. Got a really neat soundtrack and music track. And then the build variety is going to really, really test you. As you can also see, you can include new fences as you go. There's also a bunch of environmental effects. In some of the maps, enemies, for example, will come up out of the water eventually. They come out from different directions, and they just kind of don't stop. So you're going to have to pay attention. There's also little quests that you can accomplish as you go. Make sure you're trying to accomplish those as well. Make sure that you are leveling up your heroes. The only real negative thing that I would say here is that the wave density towards the end of the runs, particularly not necessarily on the first map, because there's 3 different maps per run, the end of the third map tends to get kind of dicey. They will send waves of mobs in variety and frequency that will test even the best builds, and that's intended to some degree, but I think that the balance curve can be deceptive. You can find yourself a little bit caught off guard by how many... right now we're handling this fairly well. The gate's not dying or anything like that. And the bosses will probably go down relatively easy. But eventually you're going to run into a number of them that is going to be very difficult to stop. And you're going to really have got close to a perfect build to get through all 3 maps, all 3 waves. And they last such a long time that it can feel a little bit deflating when you are 20 minutes into the final map and you fail, aren't able to continue any further. It feels like a little unfair is the word I would use to some degree, but that can be ironed out. The other thing I will say is that the bosses aren't going to be equal. There are going to be some bosses that are way easier than others, some bosses that are going to be just genuinely unfair to some degree, for certain build types. And so they're going to need to work on some of that balance a little bit to make it a little easier to flatten that curve and make sure that the power curve stays up with the difficulty. The Final thing that I will complain about, and it is a small one, but can become a very big deal, is that some of the maps are poorly designed. There was only a couple of them, but one of them, for example, I'll use kind of my mouse cursor to demonstrate. There was a bridge right here, and then waves come from either side and from inside here. It just felt like, one, I'm not sure that there's a reason almost no castles in the history of the world would be designed that way, with the bridge right here and waves that are coming right here. And it was made even worse by this area essentially being undefendable. You couldn't place any placements there because of the random nature of it. I'm sure on some other waves you might see that be defendable, but there would also be waves of enemies that came up through the water eventually, and you just couldn't defend against it. There was no placements anywhere near that placement, and so it was just kind of like, oh, I guess I'll just die then. So I think they need to work on some of these maps, work on some of the balance, but the core gameplay loop here is really, really fun and really rewarding. It's going to challenge your build crafting, your theory crafting. It's going to challenge your ability to overcome failure. And you're going to fail. You know, that's just how roguelikes work. You're going to fail to some degree, and then you're going to need to try to figure out how to overcome it, either through meta progression systems that are available to you, or through in-game progression systems that are available to you. It's especially important to learn how to manage the synergies among all of the different status effects and tower and hero types. It's also important to recognize how your hero operates and use them effectively. You don't want to be like up in melee range on a magic caster, for example. You also don't want to be up in range on a shadow caster or things like that. So I'm feeling about an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10 on this one. Really enjoyed it. Cannot wait to see what they are able to do. Hopefully they'll be able to integrate some of the feedback from the community and from myself and others and make this game even better than it currently is. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this one. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? Make sure to hit the sub button on the way out. I will see you again next time.